Can you see this?
It says recording pending.
It
You are
is.
recording this
Started.
meeting.
Started.
Yes, ma'am, it has
Yes, it
started.
has started.
Yes, it says that.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am,
thank
you
you
can.
so much. I do not know what was wrong at my end. Okay, so then one other classification that we did not discuss in yesterday's class was when we discussed in yesterday's class, we discussed the various types of restriction enzymes, but then it was observed that many enzymes from different biological sources they recognize the same DNA sequence. So that means they are from different strains, but then they recognize exactly the same sequence. So these class of enzymes which are although from different sources, and because they are from different sources, their name will be different, right? So but the recognition sequence is same. So these enzymes are classified as isoschisomers. Okay, so isoschisomers are the enzymes which are from different biological sources, and therefore they are grouped as different enzymes, but they recognize and cleave the same DNA sequence. The example is SPH1 and BBU1, which recognizes the same sequence CGTAC G, and then the cleavage is between C and G. The next category is actually also in many papers or in many books you will find that it is grouped as a subcategory of isoschisomers. These are called as neoschisomers. So neoschisomers are the enzymes which recognize the same DNA sequence, but then the cleavage is at a different position. So neoschisomers are similar to isoschisomers in the sense that they are from different biological resources. They recognize the same DNA sequence, but then the cleavage is different. So for example, SMA1 and XMA1, right? So SMA1 is from Serratia marcescens and XMA1 is from Xanthomonas malvacearum. So these two enzymes, they both recognize triple C, triple G, but if you see that SMA1 generates blunt ends and XMA1 generates sticky ends or cohesive ends. So these enzymes are called as neoschisomers, right? The third category of enzymes are called as isochordamers. So isochordamers are the enzymes which have slightly different recognition sequences. So this I think you need to pay attention. So these are the enzymes which recognize slightly different recognition sequence, but the point is upon cleavage they generate identical overhangs. So they are of extreme, I mean they are of high importance because it is these enzymes which can be used in gene cloning as well. Others are also used, but then isochordamers have certain other applications. I'll be discussing those when we'll be teaching uh, gene cloning. So the examples are ZO1 or XHO1 and SAL1. So XHO1 recognizes the sequence CTCGAG and SAL1 recognizes the sequence GTCGAC. The cleavage is between C and T here, and the cleavage in case of SAL1 is between G and T. So ultimately the ends which are generated, they are compatible. Right? Class, is it clear? Isoschisomers, neoschisomers, isochordamers, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. These are clear.
Okay. So can you see that ZO1 and SAL1 can be joined together? The ends?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. STTNs can be joined together.
Okay, very good. So then let me go to the next
Just a second, I didn't get how can they be joined together.
No, me
Okay.
neither.
So okay, so I've drawn here. So let me see CGACT, right? So this one is ZO1, the top one is ZO1 and the bottom one is SAL1. Okay, so after cleavage you are going to get these kind of fragments.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, but like
I
how can they be
understood
joined
from
together?
Yes, ma'am.
right. So now if you see CGAGCT, okay, this is This is one end. Yes. So
Yes.
A ka complementary will be what? Now you are going to tell me and I will highlight it. You are going to tell me the complementary of this one.
One CTC GA.
One
GA.
second. Hold on. I'll change the color and then. Okay. Right. Now tell me G का complementary का C is written. A का complementary.
One T.
Next. Next. G का complementary.
C.
C, yeah.
Then
G
next.
and
GA. Yes, ma'am.
So now can you see? It can be joined.
Yes, ma'am.
Dhwani Vishantan.
Oh, ma'am, it's still not clear.
Not clear? Okay. So
I
So
can't
those
see the
four
other
bases
C.
can.
Like for the first one in the green one, I can't see the complementary C. Which one would it?
okay, so you have a fragment which is cut with zo1. It is going to give you ends like this, है ना?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and I will write a few more sequences here. Not to confuse you, but just for the sake that you have extra DNA here as well, right? So this will be T A C G. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Please check if I am writing it correctly, है ना? And यहाँ पर let's write another sequence, maybe G A G C T something. Writing randomly, है ना? And यहाँ पर it will be C T C G A. Yes.
yes.
Right. Now you have digested the top one with zo1 and the bottom one with sal1. Right?
So,
So you got a fragment which is this and the one on the right side. Now the point we are trying to discuss is whether zo1 is compatible with sal1. That means zo1
okay,
generated
ma'am. Yeah,
fragment
ma'am, got it.
can be ligated to sal1. So now
Got
if
it.
right, so TCGA will fit in here and then you will have this sequence in continuity, right? Dhwani?
Yes, ma'am, got it.
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Like this. Go here, right? Hope it is clear to all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody,
Yes, ma'am.
Ashi?
That's clear.
Yeah, this one shows like how the fragments can be separated apart and how you can actually attach another one. Okay, so the next point is applications of restriction enzymes. So restriction enzymes have a lot of applications. So for example, they can be used in gene cloning, right? Before we discuss gene cloning, they can be used for isolation of the gene. That was the topic we started with. You remember that? And also
Yes, ma'am.
used for restriction fragment length polymorphism, which is also called as RFLP, and it is this. So before we discuss gene cloning, let us discuss how to isolate a gene using restriction digestion. In this case, we will start with first possibility when the sequence information is not known. Is not available, and then we would like to use restriction enzyme digestion for the isolation of a gene, and let us take the example of genomic DNA, right? So now the class has understood that if you are using a four cutter, you are going to get how many fragments? Imagine the probability of 50% ATGC.
1 upon 256, and in this case 1 upon.
So it will be, so that means the frequency will be after every 256 space pair, correct? And in
Yes,
this
ma'am.
case, the probability will be after every 4096
Yeah.
space pair.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Devpriya, Vishantan, Deepak? Yes? Okay. So now you tell me that if we use a 4 base pair cutter enzyme, and the example of a 4 base pair cutter is, for example, South 3A1. It's a 4 base pair cutter. The example of a 6 base pair cutter is, for example, EcoR1. So this says that the probability of finding an EcoR1 site in E. coli. So E. coli has a GC content of 50%, right? So the possibility of finding EcoR1 site in the genomic DNA of E. coli is going to be almost every 4096 base pairs, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Right. So, but then this is a probability, right? So what happens
Yes.
is when we try to isolate the genomic DNA, the genomic DNA is how big of E. coli?
4.6 MB.
4.6 MB, very good. So 4.6 MB, if it is cut with a 6 base pair cutter, is going to generate how many fragments?
Around 1000.
1000 or even more?
Around more 1000.
Okay, ballpark. So can we separate 1000 fragments on an agarose gel?
Oh, wow.
No, ma'am. It's no. We can.
Everybody in the class?
No.
Why?
And also like they will be of same size, then also that will also be a problem. Like for that we have to do like a differential gradient thing.
Right. So sizing, we are going to come back to it in a second because it's a probability. But still, the point is that can we separate this many fragments on an agarose gel? That's the point. Yes or
No,
no?
ma'am, you won't get a good enough, like, you will get a gradient, not stepwise, so you can't cut the gel properly, I guess.
Okay, so that
Yeah,
answer is the Devpriya.
and the resolution would not be good.
Right, the resolution will not be, not only, I mean, you will not see any separate bands in an agarose gel. It will appear like a smear because there will be multiple bands, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
therefore, so therefore we cannot, so therefore we cannot use genomic DNA. We cannot use restriction mapping as a tool for determining the map of genomic DNA. Are you getting this sentence or no? So we discussed just before that it is possible to develop a restriction map of small plasmids because you can determine the relative positions of these restriction sites because the plasmid is small and you can perform digestion with Hindi3, with SMA1, with EcoR1, with South3A1, and every time if it's a 4 kb fragment, you can get 1 kb, 3 kb, you can get bands of 0.5 kb, 2 kb, which can be easily separated, right? So therefore you can develop a restriction map of a small plasmid. But when we talk about genomic DNA, you cannot determine the map of the genomic DNA, right? For the simple reason because A, the sequence information is not there. B, because the number of fragments, if we use a 6 base pair cutter or a 4 base pair cutter, the bands are going to be, the fragments are going to be too many that they cannot be separated. Right? Is this making sense or no?
Ma'am, like we can separate like in stage by stage. Like first we separate like from 0 base pair to 500 base pair, and then then 500 to 1,000 base pair. Like first we separate like this, like 500 base pair range, and then we collect like 1 to 500 base pair at one place, and then again we separate, and we can
But
do things like.
hold on, enough separation. So what he's trying to talk about is size fractionation. So Ratnesh, that is like theoretically it is a possible technique, but practically it again cannot be used for making the map, because even if you do size fractionation, right? Even if you do size fractionation, the sizing, the bands, the number will be still too much that you will not be able to resolve them. Okay, and I have a picture to show you like how exactly a gel looks like. So the gel on the, can you see this on your screen? So the
Yes,
gel,
ma'am.
the gel with the black background. So this is the gel which is digested with different. So what you see in lane number L, let me make it big. Do not look at the remaining two gels, just look at the leftmost one, the one with the black background. So the lane L is the one which is ladder. So this is how a DNA ladder looks like. And in the other lanes, you have genomic DNA which is digested. So you see how many fragments can you count? They cannot be resolved, they just cannot be resolved. And even if you do size fractionation, you will not be able to separate them. There will be still too many. You can only separate, you can only uh, do this for small plasmids. Okay, so now the next question
Yes,
is,
ma'am.
okay, so then the next question is, class, where is my slide? Yes, so size fractionation theoretically possible, but practically doesn't work. Doesn't work. So then the question is, because we cannot develop a restriction map, right? Sequence information is not there. So, and then because if we know the restriction map, then still you know, okay, these are the places where different genes are, different sites are there, but you cannot do this. So in this case, class, what is done is, I'm bringing a new term here, partial digestion. Okay, so digestion, now everybody understands. Digestion means restriction enzyme digestion. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
right? Partial digestion versus complete digestion. Complete digestion is when you are digesting the any DNA, whether it's plasmid or genomic DNA, whether you are performing it to its completeness, right? Partial digestion is when you do not allow the enzyme to complete its reaction. So that means it
Just a
is
doubt.
partial.
Ma'am,
Yes.
is it necessary to use Eco R1 for Ecolab?
No. It has nothing to do with it. Eco R1 is just the source of E. coli, but
So we can
otherwise,
use any cutter, right?
yes,
Like
yes,
even a 17 base pair cutter.
any cutter.
But
So,
ma'am, like
but
in
the
vivo,
point
like
is,
when we have to do, then we have to use like only eco R1, right?
अरे नहीं, सब गड़बड़ हो गया. Why you have to use Eco R1?
A restriction enzyme may not work correctly in that cell. There may be that functions different.
नहीं, say it again. Restriction enzyme, why it will not work?
Like it doesn't have to be inside the cell now, because you isolate the DNA from the cell anyhow.
Yes, this is happening in an Eppendorf tube, right? This
Yes,
is
ma'am.
so all the enzymes. So in an Eppendorf tube, it cannot. There is no methylation, nothing. It is only recognizing GAA, TTC. That's it. And
Yes,
even
ma'am.
if, and no, so hold on, even if it is methylated, right? Even if it is methylated, there are restriction enzymes which can still cleave it. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So for the enzyme, because this enzyme is pure, it's commercially available enzyme, it's purified from E. coli, and therefore any DNA, whether it's eukaryotic DNA, plasmid DNA, genomic DNA, any DNA can be digested. There are certain enzymes which are sensitive to methylation, but then they are in minority. For example, Na1 is one such enzyme I remember. Then I think STI1 also is one such enzyme I remember. So there are like handful of enzymes which which have this cleavage problem. I mean, which do not work for plasmid isolated from E. coli, but then most of the others work because of the methylation. So there are some enzymes which are methylation sensitive and they will not, but then let's say out of 500 there are like just a handful of maybe 15-20, that's it. But most of these common enzymes like SAU3A, BAMH1, BGL2, HINDI3, they all work for everything, whether it's eukaryotic DNA, plasmid DNA, any chromosomal DNA, any DNA. Class?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Ma'am, also while creating a restriction map, will it be the case that we'll be using one enzyme at a time?
Yes, so okay, so maybe that's the other term that we will discuss, double digestion. So let me finish with partial and complete digestion first. So complete
One more
digestion.
thing, like why can't we use like artificial restriction enzymes like zinc finger nucleases or
Okay,
tallins?
right. So zinc finger nucleases are used, but then they are used for genome engineering, right? So zinc finger nucleases. Vishantan, you need to frame it again. So what's the question?
Basically, like even in like zinc finger nucleases, you have like those specific binding sites, right?
Right, but
And
then
and the
again,
specific cleavage sites as well. So
but
even
then
those can be used
yes,
for
but
mapping.
yes, but then the recognition sequence is quite long, right? So that is why for when we talk about any genome engineering applications, so the recognition sequence that they generally select are they need to be like a 17 base pair sequence like ISCE1, or you can have zinc finger nucleases. So they all have like longer recognition sequences, and the reason why you select for enzymes which have longer recognition sequences is because when the sequence is long class, then the probability of finding that sequence in the chromosome is going to be less, right? So what's the probability for a 17 base pair sequence class?
4 to be power 17.
Yes, and 4 to the power 17 will be like a rare event, right?
Yes, ma'am. That
So,
even.
so the point I'm trying to tell you is that the reason these are used in genome engineering is because you want to make targeted integrations, you want to make targeted deletions. So that is why if you are using a 6 base pair cutter, like if they would have used FOC1 directly, the recognition sequence would have been smaller, the specificity will be relaxed, it will recognize multiple regions, right? Vishantan, is it making sense or no?
Yes, ma'am, but like even for zinc finger nucleases, like you can always attach lesser number of fingers, right, to
Right, but
have
then
less
yes,
identification.
but then the specificity will be relaxed.
No, ma'am, like for mapping, not for genome engineering, but for mapping, you can do that.
For mapping,
Like
right? But then
maybe
for mapping, why
it
will
won't be very efficient then.
right? No, because for mapping you have I mean, more efficient enzymes already there, right? I
Right,
mean,
ma'am. Then it
EcoR1, BAMH1, these ones are so easily available. Uh, I mean, they are like very cheap. These enzymes are like you can buy 500 units for 2000 rupees, whereas for zinc finger nucleases it will be expensive.
Ma'am, what is unit like? Can you please describe?
Hmm?
What is 1 unit of a restriction enzyme?
1 unit is the amount of enzyme required to digest 1 microgram of DNA under a given temperature and conditions. For example, 55 degrees, 30 or 25 degrees for SMA1, 37 for EcoR1, something like this. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we were discussing partial versus complete digestion. So when we say, you imagine that you have a DNA. Let me draw it. Let's say this is the DNA, right? And in this DNA, there are 4 sites of GAATTC. Okay, class. So if we do complete digestion, how many fragments are we going to get?
5.
If we do partial digestion, so that's the point I want to tell you. Partial digestion means you are not allowing the digestion to complete, right? But it is not that the enzyme will not work. Enzyme will digest, but what we mean by partial digestion is not all the sites will be equally digested. So what will be the consequence?
What do you mean by equally digested?
Equally matlab completely digested. So let's say, okay, so complete digestion, I told you there are 4 sites of eCO-R1, GAATTC, which are shown as 4 lines here, right? So when we do complete digestion, you told me that you are going to get 5 fragments, which is visible, right?
Yes.
Right. Now I'm asking you,
Partial digestion, do we get fragments? Like, won't it all be together if the enzyme is not digesting it completely?
right, so here what I'm trying to tell you is that class, so I have drawn just one strand of DNA, right? But when we discussed a restriction enzyme digestion, I told you that you are going to take 1 microgram of DNA for 1 unit of enzyme. Just now I told you, right? 1 unit is for 1 microgram DNA, right?
Yes.
1 microgram DNA will contain multiple strands of DNA, many strands of DNA. That is why the
Yes.
concentration is 1 microgram. Yes.
Yes.
So now hear me out carefully. So when we do partial digestion, what I mean is that in some cases, right? In some cases, let's say this particular site is digested. So you will get one large fragment and one little smaller fragment, right? In some of the cases, you will find that this one has worked, right? And this one has not. In others, you will find that these two have worked. In some others, only this has worked, right? So what happens is that when we do partial digestion class, you are likely to get all possible combinations. Depending upon the amount of enzyme used, depending upon the time of incubation, you can have partial digestion to contain all possible fragments. Is it making sense or no?
Yes, ma'am. But
Everybody or no? Enzymes play with the concentration of the enzyme. So for example, you instead of 1 unit, what you use is like 0.01 unit. You dilute the enzyme, or you use 0.001 unit, right? You can further dilute it. You can play with the incubation times. So for example, you can perform incubations starting from instead of 1 hour you perform it for 30 minutes, or you perform it for 15 minutes, something like this.
ma'am, one question. Like, how do
Yes.
we measure that? Like, this much is 1 unit of enzyme. Like for different enzymes, the 1 unit may be different of
Right.
mass.
Yes. For different enzymes, it is different, and that is why all of these enzymes we do not prepare in our lab. So there is one lab in Duke University. They are actually not buying any enzyme commercially. So this person in Duke University is synthesizing all the enzymes, ligases, polymerases, everything in his own lab and using it. But otherwise, I haven't heard of any other lab in US और इंडिया में तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं. Everybody is buying commercially. So New England Biolabs, when it sells the enzymes, you will find that the concentration is like somewhere, for some enzymes it's 5,000 units, per ml, for some it's 50 units, so it varies. So they have optimized it, and then they tell you that okay, for this enzyme 1 unit is this much, and you use that. Ratnesh.
Okay, ma'am. So they have already determined somehow,
They have
and
already
they have fixed it.
Yes, they have fixed it. But is this partial digestion point is clear, class?
Yes, ma'am. In that case.
So, so in partial digestion, you are going to get different sizes of fragments, right? You can get in some fragments, I mean some DNA which has, for example, only this site has worked, right? And in some others, some other site has worked, something like this. Dev Priya Dhwani? Okay, very good. So, and this
Ma'am,
can be achieved
it's
by
just
varying the concentrations of the enzyme or by varying the incubation times. Now I will tell you what is the purpose of partial digestion. Ratnesh.
Ma'am, I was saying that it's just the probabilistic,
It's a
like
Yes,
which
it's
site will be
probabilistic.
cut.
Exactly. Now the point is, why do we need to perform partial digestion? We need to perform partial digestion is because you do not have the sequence information available. You cannot do restriction mapping for the genomic DNA. So if you just do complete digestion, you do not know whether your gene has, I mean, the gene is cut with the restriction enzyme, or the restriction enzyme sites are lying outside to the gene, right? Remember that the objective is isolation of a gene using restriction enzyme, right? So if we perform complete digestion class, complete digestion with EcoR1, then my point is that you do not know whether EcoR1 will cut the gene of interest. That means the EcoR1 site is present internal to the sequence. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So to take care of this possibility, what we do is we perform what is called as partial digestion. Okay. And what we do is we perform partial digestion with a few enzymes. For example, you can select EcoR1, you can select BAMH1, you can select Hindi3, and then you can select SAL1, you can select ZO1, you can select XPA1, and so on. Right? Once you do this partial digestion, and these are all done individually, right? It is not double digestion or multiple digestion. Double digestion I'll be explaining you in a second. So these are all performed individually, and once you perform a partial digestion, you are going to perform an agarose gel electrophoresis and run it on a gel. Once you run it on a gel, as a result of partial digestion, you are going to see a smear like this. Okay, now the question is how to identify out of this big smear where is our gene of interest. Okay, so to identify that, the technique that is used is called Southern blotting and hybridization. Which I think we are almost about to 10, so I will not, it's a new technique, so we will be discussing this on Friday, but because I think Ashi has raised, and we are going to discuss all of these techniques one by one, first to finish up this and then the remaining ones. We were discussing like Ashi wanted to know about double digestion. So the point is, for restriction enzymes class, we require a buffer. Yes. Reaction buffer, if you remember, I told you.
Yes, ma'am.
It can contain TrisCl, or it can contain potassium acetate, it can contain sodium acetate, it can have pH from 5 to 7, or some enzymes require 7 pH, some enzymes require 7.5. So every enzyme has a different pH optima, every enzyme has a different temperature optima, every enzyme has a different buffer compatibility. So we can perform double digestion. That means digestion with two enzymes together, like two enzymes. So for example, we can perform the digestion of ND1 with Hindi 3 together in one vial, provided they work, the temperature optima, the pH optima, the buffer compatibility is there. So if the buffer compatibility is there, Arshi, you can add both the enzymes and then use the same buffer and it will work. Right?
Right, ma'am.
Right, and accordingly you can add even 3 enzymes or even more. So long as the buffer compatibility is there, it works. The only issue is that you should be able to separate the fragments. So if for example you are using double digestion and if they are generating exactly similar fragments, that means the sites are located ekdam close by, so in that case it will become difficult.
Ma'am, so suppose we do not know the sequence and
Yes.
we want to map it, maybe on the plasmid itself.
Yes.
Ma'am, then if we use double digestion, would it be helpful? Because we won't understand which enzyme was the one that digested that
Yes,
fragment, right?
right. So in this case, you will have to use, you will have to do double digestion, you will have to do triple digestion or even 4 digestions. So depending upon the different types of fragments, it's truly a probabilistic phenomenon. You will have to select different combinations of enzymes to see whether you are able to get separable fragments, and then you can determine their relative position with respect to each other by doing simple maths and then draw a restriction map.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other doubts? Dev, Priya, Dhwani, Udita?
No.
Yep. Come on.
Okay. So maybe so then we will discuss southern blotting and hybridization in the next class, and till then whatever you have, if you have any doubts, feel free to email me, or otherwise we can discuss it in the Friday's class. Maybe before minor one, I was thinking if the class wants, we can keep one class for doubts and discussion. So generally, I keep that for everybody. But in case you people want, we can keep. Otherwise, we'll have a regular class.
Ma'am,
Okay.
like which kinds of doubts, like
Huh? Ratnesh?
of which kinds of doubts,
Which
like
kinds of
just
doubts? Any. Although you people are asking, but I do not know if you have, like, many students do not study every day and then they will study at the end and then they will have lots of doubts. If you have, it is fine. If you do not, we will have a regular class. You decide it amongst yourselves. So you are going to tell me about the doubt class and you are going to tell me about the Viva.
ma'am, I think it will be better if you take the doubt class in extra slot, like in night. That will be better. So
Night?
we will
No,
not be
ma'am. One
disturbed.
of the
Our
normal
classes will
classes
not be
can be.
disturbed.
One of the
I
normal
guess
class.
we'll talk to the other students and then we'll convey it
Yeah.
Yes.
as soon as possible.
Okay.
It will be better, like if it will be in extra slot, that will be better.
Okay, so should I close the
Thank
meeting?
you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.